So welcome to Geeks Roundtable, where we just try to have great conversations over things that just don't really matter. They're fun, they're awesome, but at the end of the day, I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's just fun, amazing conversations that we love to have as geeks. And so the heart behind it is to really just show how it is to have great conversations. And so I've brought in two people in, and the first person, you know him, he's been on the Kingdom Geeks podcast. He, great guy, amazing laugh. And let me introduce Nate.
Howdy, y'all. How do you do over there in podcast listening land? I'm ready to show y'all why I am right and why my person I'm talking with is wrong.
Nate, why are you talking weird, man? Just talk normal.
I'm just kidding.
Normal.
No, I'm very thankful to be here on this episode of Kingdom Geeks Roundtable. Glad to be here. To be having a lovely conversation with my friend tonight. So yeah.
Nice. And then the next guy, his opponent, he's an awesome guy as well. I've known him for over 13 years, probably one of my longest friendships I've had. Please welcome Murphy.
How's it going, everyone? It's so good to be here. I'm a lifelong listener to the pod, first time guest. It's really exciting to be here. I would call myself a geek, but we will see how strong of a geek I am. So thanks for having me, guys, and excited to be here.
This guy
Murphy is one of our original friends. He is one of our original fans. He commented when we released one of our first episodes. So yeah, it's good to have a fan on here that's also our friend.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, so before we get started, we changed this up a little bit last time. The opponents really didn't know the other person's answers. This time they do. I just think that might be better for what we're trying to do, to have great conversations, have them flowing. Also, I'm not going to interrupt unless if I just have a question, just to kind of keep the conversation going, or just to have understanding, or if I feel like maybe that might be confusing, try to word that differently, stuff like that. Also, I will not interrupt unless if y'all ask me, hey, could you like fact check for me really quick? But I do expect y'all to do a lot of your own fact checking. So before
I have a question, Jared.
Yes.
What if I don't trust your outlets? What if I claim fake news, man?
Well, then you still have your own, so.
Oh, wow. I see how it is. If you want to listen to the real media, listen to my secret podcast, Nate Underground. You'll find the truth. Exactly. Where you'll find the truth, man. You always find the truth.
Well, then you can go listen to Nate's conspiracy theorist show. So anyways, so how we're going to do this is we will roll this dice.
Ooh.
So basically, the winner will get to pick if they go first or second. This is closing and opening statements, and then we'll flip-flop throughout the whole time. So, really quick, what would y'all want?
Oh, I would elect to pick.
You would, okay, this isn't football, man. I know we love football,
Well,
but you want odd or even.
You know what I mean. I would elect
even
to let Nate go first. I would go second if I win the dice roll.
Okay, well, but here's the thing. That's fine, but odd or even.
Oh, I thought you were asking what our choice was. Oh, if I can pick, I'm always going to go evens.
Okay, evens. You cool with that, Nate?
I mean, I've always been considered an oddball, so sure.
There we go.
Okay. It is the number 2, so it is even. So
evens always wins.
Okay, so let me write this down really quick so I remember the order. So you want Nate to go first?
That's right. I'm going to kick.
Okay.
Thank you, kind sir.
Okay. So the first question is the Borg from Star Trek is going to invade the Earth. Which team of 5 do you pick to defend the Earth? And so it can be more than a team that normally has 5 people. So like it can be 10. But they have to pick from 5 of those members if they do that. So Nate, you get 1 minute to do an opening statement.
All right. Thank you very much, Jared. So, Jared presented us with quite the dilemma, ladies and gentlemen. You see, we here are living on planet Earth, but suddenly, we start getting we find news that the Borg from Star Trek is coming to invade Earth. And the truth is, you guys, this is a huge threat because it's like, hey, the Borg is coming to attack us. What the heck are we going to do? Who are the 5 people that we would elect to defend the Earth from the Borg or from utter destruction of our planet? Well, the truth is, you guys, there is only one team that I believe has enough people, not only enough people, but these 5 people from this team that can take on the Borg from Star Trek. And that team is none other than the Justice League. The Justice League, for those of you guys who don't know, is basically the big superhero team from DC Comics, but there's certain specific members of the Justice League that I believe are capable enough to defend the Earth from the Borg ultimately absorbing us. And this is the lineup that I have chosen to defend the Earth from the Justice League. First and foremost, in order to defend against an extraterrestrial threat like the Borg, I believe it is good to have someone with extraterrestrial knowledge to defend us against an extraterrestrial threat. So the first one I'm going to be picking is none other than Martian Manhunter. Martian Manhunter, for those of you guys who don't know, Martian Manhunter
You're
is
going
a member
over
of the
time, so just list them really quick and then you can get into it.
Sorry. So I didn't realize I had a time limit, so that's my bad. All right, so basically the 5 people that I would pick from the Justice League to fight against the Borg would be, first of all, Martian Manhunter, second of all, Wonder Woman, third of all, Green Lantern, either Hal Jordan or John Stewart. Next would be Superman, and finally, the one that I believe would be the key to defeating the Borg, Batman. So that's my pick for who I would pick to be a team of 5 to defend the Earth from the Borg.
Okay, now Johnny, it's your turn.
Great. Thank you so much, Nate. Thanks for laying that out for our listeners. So
wait, really quick. Sorry to interrupt you. So basically, we're calling my friend Johnny Murphy just to not confuse from other Johnny in the future. I just caught that because Nate just called him. So if you hear us call him Johnny,
sorry about that.
His name is Johnny, and Murphy is a nickname.
That's right. Okay,
you can keep going. Sorry for interrupting you. Just
all right. Thank
you.
Audience. Thank you. So, okay, now that I have the floor, how much time do I have, Jared?
About a minute, but I'll give you a little bit longer because Nate.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I didn't realize we had a time limit.
No,
so that's
I appreciated the context. So whenever I got this prompt, I actually had to study really what the Borg was. I didn't have any clue. And so based on my research, the things that Nate said were accurate. Like it's a group mind that assimilates and it basically takes over. It would be taking over Earth by how would you even say it, Jared? How would you even say it, Nate? Like
basically they make you into mindless robots that make you serve their queen.
Yeah. So it attacks, but it has like this hive mind, like very programmed, technology based, computer based, giant ship looking setup, right? But it takes people, and the thing is, it adapts to whatever enemy or whatever planet or whatever people that it's coming to. So the biggest tackle that we'll have to do against the Borg is finding a team that the Borg can't assimilate to, which is like the impossible, right? And so for my pick, I have chosen the X-Men. And so my five are Professor X, Magneto, Jean Grey, Legion, and Cable. And I have some really specific details of why I picked those specific X-Men. I know X-Men is a huge team with a lot of different members throughout different um, comics and throughout the years. But so there's a lot to pick from, but I picked those individuals very specifically because I think they have the best chance to not only defeat the Borg quickly, but definitively, and they would be no issue for Earth. They would save Earth in one comic issue, no doubt. So I'm happy to get into more of the details of that, but that is who I picked.
Okay, and go.
All right, so here's the thing. The X-Men are actually a really good pick to face up against the Borg. And actually, the lineup you chose is really, really good and would stack up really well. Like, you have the intellect of Professor X, you have the power of Jean Grey. Like, you have a really, really good lineup of people from the X-Men comics to actually go up against the Borg. And actually, the X-Men is a really good choice because not many people know this, but in the comics, the X-Men actually did go to space. And so, like, they do have experience with fighting things that are outside of our world. Here's the thing, though, that I feel like separates the Justice League compared to the X-Men. The Justice League actually have people that are used to facing extraterrestrial threats. Like, you have Martian Manhunter, for example. The thing about Martian Manhunter is that not only does he have the powers of Superman and also other powers as well, like he can shapeshift, he has really good telepathic powers as well. Like, he knows the galaxy and is a very, very wise superhero. And so I believe that he's someone who would know what the Borg is like and actually know what its tendencies are like. Whereas with the X-Men, don't get me wrong, there are amazingly smart people. Like, you have Professor X, who's a brilliant genius, and you have Jean Grey, which when she's Dark Phoenix is super freaking powerful. I just feel like the Justice League have that advantage because they're used to facing extraterrestrial threats and actually know what it's like to face an extraterrestrial threat. If there's anyone who I know who I would pick that's not from the Star Trek universe that I would guess would know what the Borg is like, I gotta go with someone like Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, no, I think your pick in the Justice League is a very strong pick. I think that you definitely have power, right? Like in all of the different heroes that you have. I mean, Batman is just a man with a plan with everything,
Right.
that he can do. And then, yeah, like you said, you got a lot of power between Wonder Woman, Superman, Martian Manhunter, even Green Lantern with the creativity there. Like, I feel like there's a lot of
Yeah.
power in the Justice League, but what I think is the edge in my pick is the factor in the Borg that I've at least researched is the collective. And so the ability for them to understand any attack that is coming against them and then adjust and adapt so that they can not only protect themselves but counter attack their foe. And so that it's almost like a timing thing. You have to be able to shut down the collective before it adapts, and then that way you can then take apart the Borg. So the way that I kind of thought through this is, Professor X, Jean Grey, and Legion all have the edge with telepathic powers, right? So they
Yeah.
can control minds on a mass scale and be able to shut down the collective. And then Magneto and Cable have the tech. I mean, Magneto can literally rip apart all of their ships with how much metal and components are in computers and stuff. And then
Yeah.
Cable has that that time travel technology uh, strength there. So I feel like this team would be able to pull together and find a way. I mean, Legion is he's a little bit unstable based off what I've researched, but he literally has a power that the Borg and specifically the collective could not adapt to because he has multiple personalities, meaning he has multiple
really
different
good point.
powers. And so it makes it to where how would they adapt to that? So I think that gives the X-Men an ability to beat the Borg before the collective even has a chance to know what's happening in the fight.
Yeah. Oh, those are all really good points, especially with how you have like the tactful I think the point you made, was it about Legion having multiple personalities? I think
Yeah.
that's a really strong, man, that's a really strong point. I will say this though, the thing about the Justice League compared to X-Men, because X-Men does have a lot of really brilliant people, like especially Professor X, and you do have a lot of the telepathy of Professor X and Jean Grey. However, there's one member the X-Men are missing that the Justice League does have. I believe if anyone can think of a strategy to really take down the Borg, especially of being tactful, it's Batman.
Mm.
Batman, literally, the thing about Batman is that Batman, I feel like, is probably the most dangerous member of the Justice League. Not because, and it's not just, the thing about Batman is Batman doesn't have any superpowers, but he doesn't need to. The dude is super, super smart. He knows how to take down every single member of the Justice League. He's that thoughtful and that intelligent. And even though he does, and so matching him with the extraterrestrial knowledge and wisdom of Martian Manhunter, who I believe would know how to defeat the Borg because he would be familiar with the Borg and how they operate, I feel like that's a really, really unstoppable duo because you have the intellect of Bruce Wayne and the knowledge of Martian Manhunter as well, because of the fact that Batman doesn't need powers like every other member of the Justice League, because his mind and his intellect and his ability to create, to come up with a plan, to strategize, is enough in and of itself on its own. To me, I'm like, I trust a guy that knows how to take down his own team to be able to take down a huge threat like the Borg.
That's a good point, and I think Batman, I mean, is actually really similar to the same threat that the Borg poses. Because I mean, you're referencing Justice League Doom, right? Where he has all of these plans of how he would take down the Justice League if he needed to.
Yeah, I
And
don't know for
he
sure
has
if it's
that.
Justice League Doom, but I know that he like knows how to take down the Justice League.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess for the listeners, Justice League Doom, I think I watched the movie. It's basically somebody steals Batman's plans to take down the Justice League and starts using that against them, and they have to find a way to un-Batman the situation. And so the problem is, I don't know that Batman has ever faced a threat like the Borg that on this level, uh, otherworldly has pretty much the same Batman skill, but just maybe on more of a mass scale, because the Borg literally adapts to anything. It'll adapt to power, or it'll adapt to technology. It'll adapt to whatever threat is coming their way. It'll adapt to it, and that's what the collective mind does. And it's basically Batman's strength on steroids is what the Borg
Yeah.
shows. And so I agree that Batman has that huge strength and power, and that's what he brings to the Justice League. But will it be enough is my question, because you still need what the X-Men offer, which is the ability to control the Borg from within, and then tear it apart after it's unable to adapt and assimilate.
Yeah, I could see that. That makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see that being a possibility of like, especially like the ability to destroy the Borg from within because you have so many telepathic people on that lineup from the X-Men. But
Yeah.
the thing about Batman is that Batman actually has faced extraterrestrial type threats before, especially working with the Justice League. They were able to take down Darkseid, for example. So that was a huge extraterrestrial threat. Granted, Darkseid acted differently than the Borg does because of the
Yeah.
Borg absorbing people into them. So I could see that being a challenge for Batman. The
Well,
thing
and
about
what's
Bat,
to stop them
oh, good.
from? I mean, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but like,
Oh, you're
what
good.
is to stop the Borg from getting Batman's mind? and and the next thing you know, now Batman's not on the side of Earth anymore. He's actually with the Borg, or
Yeah,
Superman, or any of the other Justice League. Like, there has to be this telepathic barrier or strength or block between any team that comes against the Borg if they're actually going to have a chance to take him down. Because if they get Batman's mind, it doesn't matter how strong it is. I mean, he would then be a part of the enemy force attacking Earth, and that leaves us defenseless if we're relying on the Justice League.
well, the thing about it is that you not only have the mind of Batman, but you do have someone with telepathic abilities in Martian Manhunter as well.
Mm,
And so you have the mind of Bruce Wayne, who's a genius who knows how to take down not only members of his own team, but has faced super giant threats before and has been able to take them down without powers. You also do have someone who is just as smart and has those powers that can actively fight against the Borg by using telepathic abilities in Martian Manhunter. So I feel like that's really the key duo right there that can take them down. Is yet you have the strategy side of Bruce Wayne and Batman with also the telepathic abilities of Martian Manhunter as
that's a
well
good point.
that could be in there. But I do see where you're coming from as well, especially with like, if it was just Batman, then it's like, yeah, I could see where you're coming from. It's like, well, what's to say the Borg can't absorb him? Well, I think because you have someone like Batman who is super smart, along with someone who has the telepathic abilities of Martian Manhunter, you have those two things working side by side together. And you also have other members of the Justice League as well that are also smart that can help, that are also really powerful. I mean, you have Green Lantern who has the creativity to basically make anything he wants. You have Wonder Woman and all of her powers as well and wisdom, and you also have Superman as well. Like
Yeah.
Superman is also not only really powerful but also really smart as well. But I feel like the two key members that could really unite together to take down the Borg would be the intellect of Batman and the telepathic and even shape-shifting abilities of Martian Manhunter as well.
Yeah.
And I feel like those two really make a really powerful duo.
No, that's a really good point. I'm not as familiar with Martian Manhunter's powers, but I think one thing that if you had the Flash in there, you would have a component
Mm.
that the X-Men have in both Legion, depending on what personality he is, and Cable, which is time travel, right? So you
Yeah,
have the
that makes sense.
opportunity to go back and try again and go back and try again until they get it right. If they end up failing multiple times, they can still go back and keep trying until they finally beat the Borg in whatever version or whatever strategy they figure out. So really, that's a big key factor is being able to go back and try again and again and again. And I think that's specifically why I chose Cable. But then I realized that Legion also has that
Mm,
power, but it's in one of his personalities. So if he's not that personality, then he's doing other things. But I think that that's another huge strategy that X-Men have facing the Borg is opportunity to go back in, do it again, go back in time, back it
mm.
up.
There is someone in this lineup though. Like, yeah, I agree. I think time travel actually can be very helpful, especially since Cable has that. But there is actually a member of this lineup that does have the ability to time travel, and that's Superman. We've seen in Superman the movie. Granted, this is not my. I love Superman the movie back in the 70s, but this isn't my favorite part. We have seen that Superman does have the ability to fly around the Earth and to turn back time, like the Flash does.
Mm. Yeah. So then there you go. I mean, I think that the same strategies for the teams would be to figure out how to time travel, to figure out how to do some
Mm,
telepathic, uh, strategy there, and then to be able to actually on a physical component destroy the Borg. So I think it sounds like both teams check those boxes. It's just a matter of which teams would either do it quicker or would do it better
mm.
or
Yeah.
would have a better chance. I think they both have a pretty good chance. Just depends how it'd play out. I would sign up to see either of these movies. It sounds
Oh,
like an
same.
awesome battle.
Oh, for sure, definitely. And like to your credit as well, I think the Flash would have been a great addition, like to this lineup as
Mhm.
well. I just also know that Superman like can also run fast, like can also time travel as
Yeah,
well. But yeah, no, I agree. I'd love to see either or. And I'm actually glad you brought up the X-Men because a lot of people forget about the fact that the X-Men do have experiences with dealing with threats in space, just because that hasn't been shown in the movies. But it is
yeah,
something that the X-Men have done in the comics. So I actually think the X-Men are a good opponent for to face off against the Borg to defend the Earth. And I think the lineup you chose, it has a good balance of all of those components.
yeah.
Okay, well, I guess we'll start with the closing. Uh, Murphy, would you want to start your closing statement?
Yeah, I'll start. I think, and what we talked out, there's the obvious threat is how do you adjust to the Borg that is also adjusting and assimilating and making sure that the threat that they're up against is neutralized in any way possible. And I think that you got to do that with telepathic strategy on a mass scale that both Professor X, Jean Grey, and Legion have. You got to be able to time travel and go up against their tech. And Cable has that future knowledge and the ability to time travel. He's very tech verse. And then, of course, Magneto being able to rip them apart. Mostly all their components are made of metal, so he has a huge advantage there. So I just think that this team is built to beat the Borg, and I don't discount that the Justice League could get the job done as well. But I think if you put both these teams up against the Borg and started the stopwatch, I think the X-Men would take it out a lot quicker and would have a higher success rate. So that is why I think the X-Men are a better team to defeat the Borg.
Okay, now Nate, your turn.
Yeah, so I think that Murphy's picked ultimately of the characters from the X-Men that he picked to beat the Borg would also is a really good lineup to go up against the Borg, because you have, like he said, the mixture of telepathy mixed with time travel and also the strategy and the multiple personality aspect of Legion. But the thing about the Justice League is, number one, the Justice League have gone up against huge extraterrestrial threats before, like Darkseid. So they're used to facing threats like these. But number two, in the Justice League, you have a really good balance, kind of like what he said about the X-Men, of people that can work together as a team. You have the mind of Batman that I'm pretty confident would come up with a strategy to take down the Borg from the inside out. You have Superman, who is really powerful but also knows a lot about the galaxy, along with Green Lantern, who has the creativity to create anything with his ring. You have Wonder Woman and all the powers that she has and the wisdom she has, but especially you have someone like Martian Manhunter, someone who is an alien, who has the ability, that telepathic ability, who can also shapeshift and is very wise as well, and also has the same powers as Superman as well. And so for me, picking this lineup, you have a good balance of superheroes that all have different powers and different strengths, but they also complement one another. And so I am completely confident that this lineup of the Justice League could take down the Borg.
Okay, nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so
Nice.
that was so hard not to hold back because, man, like, I'm a huge Batman fan. And there are times wherever I just like, we can do this, Murphy. I'm not going to say them because it's not my fight, but yeah, it was hard.
Man, that
Okay.
could have been backup could have been helpful though, man.
Well, I'm supposed to be neutral, so
All right, I suppose.
But out of curiosity, which Green Lantern did you pick?
So I said it could be either Hal Jordan or John Stewart. Like,
Okay.
either or would be okay.
Okay. Cool.
I mean, if you want to go Guy Gardner to give that little bit of edge.
I was just curious. Because there's so many people that have played well, that have been Green Lantern, and
right.
I think each one brings something different. Especially our guy,
Oh yeah, he's got that bowl cut,
Oh man.
I honestly thought of a joke. I'm like, about like, what if I picked the Justice Gang instead of the Justice League to go up against the Borg?
Well, there's only like maybe 4 people, maybe 5 if you count Superman, maybe.
I think there's only like 3 and stuff. It's just Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, and Mr.
I can't remember the other guy's name that joined right at the end. Is his name?
Yeah. I know who you're talking about. Metamorpho.
Yeah. I've only seen him in the Justice League cartoon. But anyways, I'm going to move on to the next one. So the next question is, your hands are replaced by any character of your choosing. You get the ability of what your hands can do. Which hands do you pick? And so I believe, Murphy, you get to go whenever you're ready.
Yeah. Thanks, Jared. Yeah, this was a fun question. So fun to imagine. And this was my first thought. My immediate thought, my gut reaction was this. And then I went to the whiteboard and I started thinking about it and I got in my head and I thought about all these other options. And then I inevitably found myself coming back to this. No, this is the best answer. This is hands down what I would pick if I had hands to trade with any character. I would be Spider-Man. I would absolutely pick Spider-Man's hands. I mean, there is the whole debate about web slinging, but I mean, in Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, he had organic web, so I'm choosing that one. Obviously, you
Yeah, I
want to
was
be
actually going
webbed
to
up.
ask you about that.
Yep, I want to be
So I'm
webbed
glad
up.
you specified.
So definitely got the web shooters organically, so you don't need to worry about canisters or anything. I think that was a weird take, but I think it's it's great. And then I think that Spider-Man does have super strength, so if you have strength in your hands, I'm imagining like grip strength at least, or something strong with your hands. And then I don't know if this is a little bit a gray area. Jared, you could referee here, but I mean, Spider-Man also has Spidey sense. So does he have Spidey sense in his hands? Can he kind of,
I would imagine it's more in his head, so no.
Oh, okay, all right, fine. Well, even without the Spidey sense, just the ability to shoot webs, to be strong with your hands, and I don't know, man. I just I thought of a million other examples or people that I might pick, but or characters and whatnot. But when it all came down to it, who doesn't want to be slinging webs and zipping from place to place? I mean, that's why we play the video games. That's why we love Spider-Man. So absolutely. I mean, I'm just chilling at home and I want to grab
Okay.
something off the other side of
You
the
can
couch.
you can
Web it
talk
up.
more about it, but you went way over, so
Sorry,
now we
sorry.
gotta let Nate. I will let you go full reign in a minute, okay? So Nate, if you need some more extra time, since I let Murphy go over a lot, I'm gonna let you have it. So you ready?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good. Let's do this.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
go.
So, now, granted, I will say I love Spider-Man. For those of you who have listened to the Kingdom Geeks podcast, you guys know how Spider-Man. He honestly is my favorite superhero. However, I feel like there is one superhero that I believe would have the best option of if I could trade hands with anyone, it would be this superhero. And that is the character of Cyborg. So Cyborg, for those of you guys who don't know, is half human, half robot. And one of the things that he can do with his hands is that he can shift his hands into multiple different tools. You need a laser for blasting off a bad guy, boom, your arm can turn into a laser. You need a tool to get the job done, bam, you can turn your fingers into one of a tool. You can basically you won't ever need to buy tools from the hardware store again because they will be in your hands. It will thus therefore saving you time, and also at the same time blast bad guys. Who wouldn't want laser hands? I mean, come on, guys. Like, just being honest, with us as men, how much of you guys would not want to have laser hands? And I feel like ultimately, if you were to pick a fictional character to train hands with, I feel like you gotta go with someone like Cyborg. You can produce many tools, and more importantly, you can transform your arm into a laser to blast off the bad guys.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go!
Nice. Yeah, so I think these are both really good picks, man. I don't know if there's much of a fight here because who wouldn't want either? But one thing that I forgot or didn't have time to mention in my opening remarks was just the fact that as Spider-Man, you could crawl along walls, climb up walls and structures and things like that. So there's just a lot of adventure it having Spider-Man's abilities in your hands and being able to swing webs, sling webs, shoot webs, grab stuff, climb up walls, have strength. I mean, it seems like a one heck of an adventure. So, um, yeah, I just think
Yeah.
it's a fun answer.
Oh no, I agree. Trust me. You're talking to someone who's a huge Spider-Man fan. Like as a kid, I can't remember if I like used steps to like recreate the scene in the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie where he like is climbing up the wall for the first time. Like, yeah, that's super freaking cool. Here's the thing, though. I was like wondering which version when I first heard this answer. I'm like, okay, are you talking about like Toby's Spider-Man where he has organic webbing, or like Spider-Man the comics where he has web shooters? Because like if he just had web shooters, and it's like just you're basically just wanting to climb walls, and that's basically it. But I'm glad you said the organic web shooting, because then that gives more context. Well, I do think that would be really cool as well. I just feel like Cyborg's ability to transform his arms into things just comes really in handy. I mean, these are just several examples of a wiki page that I actually pulled up of things that Cyborg's arms can actually transform into. The first one is a chainsaw. What guy wouldn't want his arm to transform into a chainsaw? That would be so freaking cool. You could easily get a job as a lumberjack. Is there an annoying tree that's about to fall on your house that needs to come down? Boom! You don't need to buy a chainsaw anymore. You can just transform your arm into a chainsaw. He also can transform his arm into a welding torch. You realize how much money welders can make? You can easily get a job as a welder, just if you have the ability to transform your arm into a welding torch. And also, a welding torch would come in handy as well for when you need to weld things. You also can turn it into a flashlight, and also his fingers have various optics and audio tools inside of them as well. But I also feel like the ability to have your arm transform into a laser, I just feel like that is the ultimate hand weapon. Because here's the thing about Spider-Man. Well, Spider-Man, especially with organic webbing, while you can swing from one building to another and ultimately spew out webbing just with your hands, that also, the thing is that you have to be really creative to figure out how to use webbing to go against your opponents. If my arm can transform into a laser, they're done immediately. I don't have to think about it. I can just transform my arm into a laser, point and aim, bam, bad guy is done.
Yeah, I will have to put a little bit of a damper on that, because if you think about practicality, you'll never be able to board an airplane ever again. I mean, like, you'll be stopped at TSA, and you won't be able to board. I mean, you have weapons for hands now, so like, good luck flying. So, I mean, at least with Spider-Man, like, those are still normal hands, and you just have these powers, so you can still, go through TSA with a breeze.
Here's the thing, though. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. I was about to say something that I'm like, wait, that would actually be a point for Spider-Man. But let me say this. Yes, you wouldn't have to go through TSA again. Here's the thing. I feel like having a laser arm is worth not flying.
Okay.
Like, there's other ways of traveling places. You can drive. You can take a boat. The truth is, transportation issues can get solved. The thing is, I feel like having a laser arm is 100% worth not flying. Even though I don't have an issue with flying. Like, I feel like having a laser arm would just be the coolest freaking thing ever. You can easily take down bad guys with it. And the way I think about it, if my arm could transform into a welding tool, I could become a welder and make a crap ton of money. I could afford to buy my own private jet and not have to go through TSA security. So to me, I'm like, there's easily ways around this to where if I could just have my hands transform into things, there's easily ways around it to where I can find other ways of traveling rather than going through TSA.
Okay, yeah, fair point. I still think swinging from webs is way cooler, though. That's my opinion.
It's also a little messy, though. Like, it can get, like, all those webs can get, like, really, sticky and stuff like that. With a laser, you don't have to worry about stickiness.
But you have to worry about power, don't you? Have to, like, plug it in? What do you have to, like, charge and, like, have a battery? Like, what's Cyborg's power source? Let's talk about that.
Okay, that actually is a really good point. But I don't know exactly what his power source is. I can't remember. But the
I
thing
don't
is,
know.
I feel like even if you have to charge it, I feel like it's worth it. Like I feel like even if you have to like charge yourself, like you could just go to bed, charge yourself, get a good night's sleep, and bam, you have your laser arm again.
Yeah,
I
no,
can
it definitely is.
clarify a little bit if you want.
Yeah. Let's fact check
So
that.
Yeah.
Let's go to Jared.
I know at least in the Teen Titans show, he had to have some kind of battery for it that he changed out.
Okay. Yeah. So that's. I mean, who wants to replace batteries? That's annoying.
But I can see what it is in
Replacing
the
batteries
comics
isn't
real
that
quick.
bad.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, I mean, I would definitely wear the suit. You know what I mean? I mean, I would only have Spider-Man's hands, but I would wear the whole suit. That's my
Oh, for
thing.
sure. You have to wear the suit. You
Yeah,
have to pull a J. Jonah Jameson and Spider-Man 2. Put on the
yeah.
suit, you know?
Arguably, Spider-Man's hands are the most important part of his powers. So, I mean, you're basically Spider-Man. You just don't have the Spidey sense and the strength everywhere and the durability, but everything else you have.
Yeah, that is fair. That is very fair. You're basically nothing without your hands unless you have spider sense and things like that. But I feel like here's the thing though. Here's what I'm coming down to. Outside of saving people, what are the benefits of having webbed hands besides saving people and swinging from buildings and climbing buildings? With
Oh my
Cyborg,
gosh.
I can have skills in my arms that can translate into jobs, getting work done around the house, and while also fighting off bad guys. Which I know there are points for that for Spider-Man, but I feel like, hey, I just feel like there's there's a lot of transferable skills that can help you if you had the things that Cyborg has.
Well,
Yeah,
okay.
you've talked a lot about welding. I would want to ask, and maybe Jared can fact check this for us, or we can do a quick Google search. But what is a stronger bond, a weld or Spider-Man's webs?
I just based off my knowledge, number one, just to answer the first question, just looking more into it, he needs to charge his body, so you'd have to charge your hands. Number two, the webs do disappear.
That's true. Yeah.
There you go. Webs
So,
disappear.
are you okay with giving closing statements right now, or you want to keep going just a little bit longer?
No,
I just
go
ahead,
ahead,
Nate.
Johnny. Oh, you're good, Murphy. You're good.
I was just looking it up. I just chat GBT'd what's stronger, welding metals or Spider-Man's webs.
Yeah.
And the short of it is that, webs are stronger based on motion or short term, but welding is stronger over time. So, I mean, yeah, that's really a non point there. Just thought to bring that up. But yeah, I think Spider-Man's webs are messy, but they get the job done. If you need something held together, you can hold it together. We've seen that in all the movies and comics and everything. So that's a super useful tool at your fingertips. Not as versatile as Cyborg, but definitely helpful and practical.
Well, cool. Well, we'll go to closing statements. Johnny, you are. I think you're first. Hang on. My gosh,
Yeah.
my notes popped up.
I opened, so I think it's Nate to close.
Yeah, it is Nate to close. You're right. So Nate, you get to start.
All right. So my closing statement is this. While I would absolutely love to have the abilities that Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man has in his hands, like the ability to swing, the ability to climb walls, all that fun stuff. The thing is, I feel like there's a lot of practical benefits that Cyborg has if you had his hands. The ability to shoot lasers, first of all, is an easy instant blow to a bad guy. Way more so than web. Like you have to be more creative on how to web against bad guys. Number two, Cyborg's features also lead to more practical skills. Like was said earlier, welding will help things put things together longer term. And in the end, what you want is something long that will long benefit you in the longer term. And so the fact that cyborg has things like the ability to transform with his arms, a chainsaw, a welding torch, flashlight, and a laser, to me provides more versatile options for not only taking down bad guys, but also practically getting things done and the ability to have a more stable situation than just Spider-Man's abilities.
Nice. Okay, now Murphy.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't have like a super strong closing argument, but I just love Spider-Man, dude. And I think that having the ability to shoot up webs, sling with webs, have that grip strength, be able to climb and crawl on the walls. Like I said, I think it's the question of versatility and tech against adventure and maybe fun. So I think I would still pick Spider-Man 10 times out of 10. I just think it'd be super cool to web it up. So I'm going with Spidey still. That rest my case.
Nice. Y'all gave some fun answers. I loved them.
Jared, how do we know who wins? Like, is there a way at the end of the
There
episode?
is there's no winner unless if like
Oh,
the audience just wants to win, say you won.
I think they need to like
Oh,
comment, let us know who won.
Yeah.
We'll do
Well,
a
we'll talk.
poll.
exactly.
We'll
Let
talk
us know.
about it. We'll
Ooh.
we'll mention it at the end.
Cool.
They could always talk about that stuff, but it's more about the conversation, having fun, Johnny.
Yeah, no, I'm competitive. I want to know who won.
I
Yeah,
know you
I
are.
get
I know
that.
you are.
My
Who-
competitive side
who's
is
gotta
also
be
coming
winning?
out.
And so we'll talk about that at the end. If y'all want to pick a winner, you can. And if you think you have a better answer than any of these guys, just like comment and just be like, "This is a better answer, and this is why." But
Please.
moving on to the next one. Make sure. Okay. Which fictional character has the worst weakness, being very inconvenient for that character? And so, Nate, you start.
All right. In the history of fiction, especially if you're thinking about superheroes, characters, there have been very famous examples of really pathetic weaknesses. A common example one would think about would be Aquaman having to be in water. But as I was doing research, I came across a weakness I had no idea existed. It's from a superhero that I, to be frank, don't know a whole lot about. But when I discovered her weakness, this is one of the worst weaknesses I have ever heard of in my entire life. There is a superhero in DC known as Power Girl. She's basically Superman's cousin, I think, from another universe. And she has all the same abilities as Superman. The only difference is her weakness isn't kryptonite. Her weakness, I kid you not, this is a literal line said by her in the comics, is raw, organic, natural materials, aka nature. Power Girl's literal weakness is anything raw in nature. If you have a stick, a big stick, you can beat Power Girl. If you have a big rock, you can beat Power Girl. Heck, I'd be willing to say if you have an acorn, you could throw it at her and she would be defeated. To me, there is not a single more pathetic weakness than that. That means you have to stay in urban areas, which even then does not guarantee that you will not be exposed to some sort of nature. If you're in a park and there's grass that has been untouched, that is a terrible, terrible weakness. And super, super inconvenient because, especially if you're in America, what place doesn't have trees or rocks
Okay,
or anything in nature?
I'll stop you there. We'll let you get into it.
Yeah,
a
that's
little
my
bit.
opening statement. Power Girl's weakness sucks.
Okay, now Murphy, whenever you're ready.
Yeah. So my pick, I really liked this question because we got to kind of, in my pick at least, deviate a little bit from the Marvel heavy knowledge base that I have, but still go superhero. So it's a little bit of a tease. But my pick is when I was thinking about who has the worst weaknesses, and I'm thinking about all the different ones. One stood out to me, and it was very clear that this is just the most, like you said, inconvenient weakness to have. And that is none other than David Dunn. You might ask, who is David Dunn? That name doesn't sound familiar. I don't blame you. He is the main character from the M. Night Shyamalan movie Unbreakable. And so he is a superhero that doesn't know it. And this is from the M. Night Shyamalan trilogy with Split and Glass to follow. And so it's a superhero universe without like the suits and all the crazy stuff. But David Dunn has incredible strength. He's unbreakable. He's indestructible. But his weakness is water. Literally, there's a scene where there's a puddle and he pushes his face into it. So really, drowning is his weakness, and that is incredibly inconvenient in almost any scenario you can imagine. So that is my pick for the worst, most inconvenient weakness round.
All right, I gotta say this. I actually really like Unbreakable. I think it's a very underrated movie. Like, not enough people talk about it. It's so freaking good. It's one of M. Night Shyamalan's best. Like, yeah, if you're listening to this episode and have not seen Unbreakable, go watch it. It's such a good movie. So I'm actually glad you mentioned and brought up Unbreakable because it's super underrated. So here's the thing about David Dunn's weakness, water. While that is a really pathetic weakness, especially it's you talk about inconvenience. That's a very, 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 very inconvenient weakness. The thing about Power Girl is you can throw an acorn at her. Like it may have to be a big acorn, and she would be weak. Like you can't an acorn, anything in nature, and you can take down a really powerful alien being. Like, do you realize how hard that is if you're fighting on Earth to avoid things from nature? There are parks in every city in America. There are places, even in like the most urban places, you can at least find a stick. Like, what superhero is supposed to be so powerful that they can be defeated by a stick? To me, that is super pathetic and super, super, super inconvenient. Like, you have to go out of your way to try and avoid anything that is raw, organic, natural material because it's almost everywhere you go.
Yeah, that's a really good point and a great argument. I think I am going to question the validity of the point, and if we could, because in my research of Power Girl, everything that I've found shows her weaknesses to be red sunlight, and so obviously coming to a planet with a yellow sun, not a big deal. Kryptonite, and then true magic, and so in all of the different areas that I've looked up, I haven't seen that. So I'm not sure if that was from a certain comic or a certain. You said it was a line that she said, but I can't see that anywhere.
Yeah,
is there any way to fact check that?
Yeah, there's a YouTube video from the channel Cracked that talks about it. There's also other online sources of, if you look at like, there's an article I found about worst superhero weaknesses. I know what you're talking about like her weakness being magic. So that actually, if I'm not mistaken, was actually something the writers added later because of how pathetic the weakness to natural elements was. And so that actually, I think, was something the writers specifically changed, but I could be wrong on that. In research I've done, like there's multiple sources that say that her weakness is natural elements. But Jared, feel free to fact check me on that.
Yeah,
I remember looking it up right when you told me, and Google did say it. I'll re-look at it again, but yeah, y'all go for it and I'll tell you what I find. But I remember reading that too after you said that, because they're like, there's no way. There's no way at all. And maybe it's like an earlier version of her.
I do know there is a Cracked YouTube video about it. Cracked is like a huge YouTube channel, and there's a video that says the worst superhero this talks about the worst superhero weakness, and they bring up Power Girl being her weakness being natural, raw, organic, natural materials. Oh. But anyways, I'm more than willing to be fact checked, and yeah, Johnny, if you have any, Murphy, if
Yeah,
you have
no,
any points you want to bring up about David Dunn's weakness, please feel
no,
free.
yeah. I just skimmed really quick a Reddit article, and it does show that on Cracked, it does mention that Power Girl is vulnerable to quote unquote raw, unprocessed natural materials. And they go into talking about like if you dug up a gold nugget or some quartz or something and fashion that into a bullet or something, it'd be easy enough to kill her. But then somebody commented and mentioned that Power Girl's weaknesses only existed for a short period of time during the 90s. Well, her origin was changed so that she wasn't from Krypton. Blah blah blah. So interesting, interesting. So maybe there's some like historical stuff, but that version of Power Girl did exist. So that makes sense. Yeah. Again, I think back to my pick with David Dunn. Um, I mean, there's you see it in the movie. There's scenes where the water's around you. It rains, and then puddles form, or you get pushed into a pool, or I just think there's so many instances where all of a sudden you're not just weak. It's like Superman when he's near kryptonite. He's like crippled, like he's literally completely useless. And so I just think that that's such a. I mean, honestly, David Dunn's powers are great, but he's not OP by any means. But for that weakness to be so easily available at every turn is crazy. I mean, it'd be one thing if he fell into a pool and then could still be a regular human. He just didn't have powers. But no, like if he is in water and he's submerged in water, it's like equivalent to Superman and Kryptonite. He's uh like going to drown basically. Like he is like uh immovable, and it's very inconvenient. So I think that's I think they went under on the powers when they designed his superhero setup, and they went over on the weaknesses. So I just think that would be super inconvenient. If that was my weakness, I don't know, I'd move to Arizona or something.
Yeah. So I did have some questions about that. It has been a while since I've seen Unbreakable. I should watch it again because it's such a good movie.
Mhm.
So remind me, what does David Dunn do for drinking? Like, is he still able to at least drink water
Yeah,
or liquid?
I don't think there's a ton of lore because it's just such like a one-off, superhero
Yeah.
and one-off story. So I think for the sake of the story, it's like drinking water and things like that is, it doesn't affect him. But of every instance, especially in a fight and things like that, when he's submerged,
Okay.
especially a scene in Glass when he's submerged, even just his face in a puddle of water, that he's weak. There's other scenes where he falls into a pool or like a big vat of water, and then of course because he's submerged, that's his weakness. So and then in the rain,
Yeah.
it's not like he's weak in the rain. It's just that if he gets submerged in water, then he becomes that's his weakness, and he becomes completely physically weak and can't swim. Even it's like if he could swim, at least that would be something, but it's like
Yeah.
he can't even
Right.
swim. So it's like, yeah, it's just it's a thing. I can't remember if it's ever like really addressed why that's his weakness, or maybe that's
Yeah.
something that was past. I would need to
Yeah,
watch it
for
again
sure.
to
Yeah,
remind
I was
myself.
just curious. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I would just need to rewatch it and remind myself why that is his weakness.
Yeah, I was just curious about that because I'm like, okay, yeah, if he couldn't even drink water, that would really, really suck. And to be fair, like that is like one of the most inconvenient weaknesses I've ever heard of from a character. Like he can't even take a shower. Like that's freaking terrible. So like, yeah, I completely, I think that is a really, really good answer. The thing about Power Girl's weakness though to natural elements is that pretty much everywhere you go, there's some sort of natural element. Like there's trees, therefore there's sticks that could that you could pick up and just throw at her, and bam, she's done. She pretty much would have to avoid the season of fall entirely because there's the leaves all over the ground. So she would basically have to avoid that entire season as well. Even even in really urban areas to where you might think, oh well, with Power Girl's weaknesses, like, that she can avoid like natural elements, like things like trees, sticks, leaves, grass, things like that. Like like I mentioned before, every single area, especially if you're defending the United States, every single town or city at least has a park, or at least has some semblance of natural elements. And the fact that she can be defeated just if she like even is exposed or like is touched by one of these things, that's just really pathetic in my opinion, and super super inconvenient. You have to go out of your way. You basically have to remain inside, like literally remain inside for all of your time, or at least like try really hard to avoid natural elements. It's just like, to me, I'm like, that is super inconvenient because everywhere has some sort of natural element when you think about it. Front houses have front lawns, even sidewalks, like there's rocks that can fall on it. Like you mentioned before, she can be shot by a quartz bullet. Like, it's just, yeah, for me, like, that's just super 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 inconvenient. But to your credit, yeah, David Dunn's weakness is also super inconvenient as well. I mean, he literally cannot go outside on a rainy day or else he would die. Like, that's just,
Yeah.
that is really, that is really, really inconvenient.
Yeah. So in looking a little bit more through Reddit, I see the snippet of an actual, like, I'm trying to imagine this practically Power Girl's weakness, right? And there's this snippet from the quote where she has it looks like a branch or a stick lodged in her back, and Supergirl is going to go pull it out of her back for her. And in the pain, Supergirl says, "What, are you vulnerable to wood?" As she's like pulling this out. And then that's when Power Girl says, "Worse, to any raw unprocessed natural material, so sticks and stones can literally break my," she's cut off and everything. So it's,
Yeah.
I feel like in reality, in practicality, like, you would have to do a little bit more than just throwing something at her, right? Like in this, literally, there's like a foot's worth of a branch lodged in her back. The stone would have to be big enough. It would have to actually do some kind of damage. Otherwise, okay, an acorn's going to bounce off a human being just like it would off of her. But I think it's still an inconvenient weakness. You would have to have another way to actually impose that weakness on her. Now, dirt, maybe, like, it seems more like maybe a bio weapon would be easier to, but it has to be unprocessed, right? So I don't know. There's allergies that, like you said, if pollen's out, then is she
Right.
weak? That would be inconvenient. But I'm not sure. I feel like it has to at least somehow enter her system or her bloodstream or her airways, or something. It
Yeah.
can't just be like she's standing near a stone and she's weak. It has to be something that's like maybe opposing her in a way, like she's lodged between rocks or something like that. Like, I'm trying to imagine how the designers that wrote her kind of imagined this playing out, because I'm sure that they wouldn't have brought her to Earth if everything about Earth is her weakness. Then she would just be a regular person. So I feel like there's a little bit of nuance there, but it still is very inconvenient, regardless of how you slice it.
Yeah.
However,
that.
I will say, so I know we're primarily looking at weaknesses, but if you look at the weakness to power ratio, that might be something to consider in this argument, where how powerful are you before your weakness considered to after your weakness. So Power Girl, I'm not sure what her powers are, but I would imagine they're similar to Superman if she's.
Yeah, they're basically the same as Superman, I think.
So I mean, like, as long as she doesn't, isn't weak or weakened from her weakness, she has some pretty awesome OP powers. Whereas David Dunn has good powers, but they're a little bit more down to earth and grounded. And then, like I said earlier, I feel like they went under on his powers and way over on his weakness, because it's a pretty big weakness, man. Like, it's almost to the point of annoying when you're watching through, both Unbreakable and Glass. Like, he just he finds himself in those situations all the time where he's submerged in water, and if he can be pushed into a pool, that shows that his powers actually aren't as strong. If he has strength, you know what I mean. It's just one of those things where it's
Mm.
like the power to weakness ratio is a bit off. Probably, in my
Yeah.
opinion, more on David Dunn than it is Power Girl.
I will say that Power Girl, just to clarify, is Earth 2 Supergirl.
Earth. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's
Makes sense.
basically it's Earth 2 Supergirl. It's just a different name.
Got it.
Yeah, I knew she was Superman's cousin from a different universe, but I don't know if maybe I knew for sure that she was Supergirl in a different universe, but yeah, I know that she had the same, that she was Superman's cousin in a different universe. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, I will let y'all start your closing statements.
Such is
Okay,
the way.
so yes.
It should be me to start opening.
Yeah, Murphy, you
Yeah.
start.
Closing. Yeah, so I'll close and just say again, I think both are really inconvenient. I just can't get over how lopsided David Dunn's. I said it just a second ago. His power to weakness ratio is way off, and I think Supergirl or Power Girl has a lot better power. Even though her weakness is more inconvenient, her powers are super strong and super convenient. And so I think that makes it. I mean, heck, if you're Power Girl and you're like weak to everything on Earth, just go somewhere else, and then you go to a mostly processed material planet, and there you go. You don't have their weakness is not inconvenient anymore. Whereas David Dunn, water is everywhere where there is life. So it makes it a lot more inconvenient to avoid being submerged in water and being completely useless and powerless. So that is my closing remarks.
Okay. Now, Nate, whenever you're ready.
So yes, David Dunn's weakness in Unbreakable is super, super, super inconvenient. Like he can't even go outside on a rainy day. Like that is super, 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 super inconvenient. The thing is though, and yes, while it is true that Power Girl, even from research I have done, it does seem like there does have to be an excessive amount in order for her to be weak to raw, organic, natural elements. It's still the fact that it's super, super hard to avoid those things. Everywhere there's some bit of nature, there's some bit of raw, organic, natural element. To me, the idea of the fact that you are this all super, super, super powerful being, and yet you can't even, someone can just whack you with a stick. Like, really? That is super, to me, that is super inconvenient because someone could just pick up a big stick from a park, smack you with it, you're done. Like, that is, to me, is super, super inconvenient because the fact that you basically have to you have to do certain things to really go out of your way because, like I mentioned before, cities have parks. There's a bit of raw natural air elements in every area on this planet, and Power Girl, part of her job is defending this planet, and so to me that is a really inconvenient weakness that the very planet she has to defend has things that are pathetic to take her down.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. That was awesome just listening to y'all talk about that. I got to see this Unbreakable movie because I haven't seen it.
You should. It's super good. It's
Yeah.
such a good movie.
Yeah, and man, just hearing you talk about Power Girl is just reminding me of these things that I've been studying recently for a Kingdom Geeks episode. It is not Power Girl, by the way. It's not Power
Yeah.
Girl. And
I don't
we've
know if I
already
want to
done
do an episode
Superman.
covering Power Girl.
And it's not Superman because we've done Superman, so that gives you some hints, at least two crossed out. But yeah, part of it let me to listen to Earth 2 because that's the original OG. Like that's where all the superheroes started. So yeah, that'll give you some interesting stuff to look forward to in the future, guys.
Yeah, listen to our podcast.
Hey, now it's not that time. Okay, we'll do that at the end.
Hey man, they can
Never
still
say it
listen
enough.
to us.
Never say it enough.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Let 'em-
Listen to the Geeks podcast. Listen to us have fun talking about
Okay.
nerd stuff and the gospel.
So this next one is very interesting. I'll just read the question and I'll talk a little bit about it. Which fictional town or city is the best to live in for the rest of your life? And I think that there was a clear winner in these two guys' hearts. And because there's a clear winner in these guys' hearts, I had to tell them go back to the drawing board because you can't pick the same thing.
In case you're
And
wondering,
that's
we
the
both
Shire.
picked the Shire.
Yeah,
we
that's
both
why I
picked the
told you.
Shire.
Yeah, that's why I told you. Like, nah. So that's what happens whenever they pick the same thing. I tell them pick something else. Pick your number 2. And so
The
really,
Shire is so
I guess-
good, though.
The
I'd love to
Shire
retire.
is
in
I
the
guess they're
Shire.
gonna be-
undefeated.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the
So,
best. Easily
The
live in
next
the Shire.
best choice we're going to talk about, and Johnny, I believe you go first.
Great. Yeah. Well, aside from me and Nate both wanting to go live in the Shire for the rest of our lives, I chose a
That would be my number
place.
one requirement.
Yeah, I chose a place that I think would be equally as enjoyable, but more on a cool factor, more on a factor of modern. The Shire is, just it seems peaceful. It just seems happy, blissful. It seems like a great community, whereas this is almost on the other side of the spectrum. It's awesome, great community, great culture, but also it comes with a lot of sweet perks, and that is the hidden nation of Wakanda, as my pick.
Wakanda forever.
That's right.
Okay. Well, Nate, would you want to pick yours?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I both Murphy and I agree that the Shire would easily be our number one choice to live in a fictional town or city. But for thinking of other fictional towns or cities, for those of you guys who don't know, I actually really love cartoons. And so that's one of the things I am nerdy about is cartoons. And growing up as a kid in the late 2000s, one of my favorite cartoons to watch was Phineas and Ferb. And to me, I feel like a really good choice for a fictional town or city to live in for the rest of my life is easily Danville from Phineas and Ferb for several different reasons. Number one, Phineas and Ferb, for those of you guys who don't know, they're basically these kids that come up with these crazy inventions and fun things during the summer. Like they built a roller coaster, they built a beach in their backyard, they went to Mars, stuff like that. A lot of the people in Danville got to enjoy the benefits of Phineas and Ferb's inventions. They got to go to the beach. They got to experience the roller coaster that they built in their backyard. Danville is also close to the ocean and close to Mount Rushmore, which geographically doesn't make any sense in real life, but it makes sense in the show. But there's a lot of different reasons I'll talk about later, but my pick and answer for this question is Danville from Phineas and Ferb.
Hello there.
That means go.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. So,
Yeah. I like to do something different for each round, so go for it.
nice. Yeah, no, I'm not at all familiar with Phineas and Ferb. I hate to say it. I know I might catch some flack in the comments or whatever, but like I never watched the show, never seen an episode, so
Good
I
show.
definitely had to do a little bit of research to just understand the concept of the place, and of what I understand. It's kind of like two different worlds. There's like this world spy CIA type deal going on, and then there's
Yes.
this real world that is on the surface. And so it just, the gist that I get from it that was kind of summarized for me was it's just like the perfect place to live in stories and to tell stories and make stories real. And so that
Yeah.
seems really cool, really enjoyable, and I can't fault you for wanting to live there the rest of your life. On the other hand, you have Wakanda. You know what I mean? You have a place that is here on Earth. You can still travel to other places on Earth that you know about, and you have all of this crazy tech that you can tap into and have access to. And I just love the design of this comic destination, that it is in the middle of this African continent. It's hidden from the rest of the world, and yet it is maybe arguably the most advanced civilization, an advanced community in the world. And then they, obviously in the movie and in the comics, then they open it up to the world and make it more available and start sharing their resources. But I think it's to live there, to be your place. It's not going to be, even if they do open themselves up to the world a little bit, it's not going to be a tourist destination. I guarantee you that. Wakanda is never going to become a place where people can just go and visit and have resorts and vacation. It's still a very private, closed off destination place that they
It's
actively
basically
protect. So
it's basically a gated community of a country in Africa.
yeah, that also has some of the most advanced technology you can imagine. And so it's like, not a lot of people are getting a free ticket in there. So to be able to go and be a part of that and be able to enjoy all of the advancement in technology that they have, it just seems like a great place to be, great place to live.
Yeah, no, I get that. I think Wakanda would be a really, really, really cool place to live. Especially with like the advancement in technology. You have the privacy, obviously, of it being a secret nation. So, like, yeah, there's definitely a lot of benefits to Wakanda. There are certain reasons as to why I feel like Danville is a better choice to live in than Wakanda. Number one, Danville has a very welcoming, friendly, and hospitable atmosphere that Wakanda doesn't have. Like, Wakanda is like this secret club for people, for certain kinds of people to get in. Whereas in Danville, the thing that's really cool about watching Phineas and Ferb is that almost everyone in Danville gets to enjoy their inventions that they make. They get to go to the beach that they build in the backyard. They get to go ride the roller coaster as well. And so there's this really huge community, warm hospitality atmosphere in Danville. And in the Christmas episode of Phineas and Ferb, the entire city rallies together because they discover that Santa isn't going to Danville because Dr. Doofenshmirtz the evil scientist on the show invented something that made Danville seem very naughty, even though they were all really nice. And so the entire community comes together to get Santa's attention, so that way he does end up so that way he can go to Danville in the end. The other thing also that's really cool about Danville is its location. So Danville is literally right on the ocean, so like it has beaches and things like that. But it's also within driving distance to a place like Mount Rushmore, which is an American icon. Granted, I know geographically that doesn't make any sense because Mount Rushmore is nowhere near the ocean in real life, but still, to be able to be so close to areas like that makes it a prime location if you're someone who loves being outdoors and having fun as well. Danville also is a huge city, so they have events like conventions. Like they had a huge sci-fi fantasy convention in one of the episodes. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a really good episode of Phineas and Ferb where it's a fantasy convention. It's also a tri-state area as well, and so because it's a tri-state area, you have the ability to travel within different states as well. And I know you mentioned the whole underground CIA operation. So actually, that agency is called the OWCA, which stands for the Operation with a Cool Acronym, or Without a Cool Acronym, which is a hilarious name. And basically, their secret agents are animals that are highly trained to take down evil scientists, and they do that. Barry the Platypus constantly takes down Dr. Doofenshmirtz. And so, because of that, Danville is a very safe place to live because they are protected by the OWCA. The thing about Wakanda, and this is the biggest point as to why I think Danville triumphs Wakanda. Granted, I have not seen Black Panther Wakanda Forever. So, but we know from Black Panther that there has been corruption in the Wakanda government. Like, bad. And in Phineas and Ferb, there isn't that. Mayor Roger Doofenshmirtz is the perfect mayor. So there is no government corruption like there is in Wakanda.
Yeah, that's a good point. You raise a good point. I don't know if this is a gray area, so maybe Jared, you can give us the call here. But
Okay.
I'm assuming if you're living here, then are you a cartoon in Danville?
You know what? Yeah, I'd say that you're a cartoon.
So, I mean, you have to be a cartoon. So then now cartoon reality applies. And so I don't know, like you have to wear the same outfit every day and like I don't know, like just typical cartoon stuff. I don't want to be a cartoon. I want to be a real person. So I'd still pick Wakanda. I think you raise a lot of good points. I mean, again, I just not being as familiar with Phineas and Ferb and Danville. I don't know that I can bring too much up other than the fact that you're living in a cartoon world and
Yeah.
maybe that does limit some of the reality. And in Danville, is there do like in cartoon world, like do people age? And you got problems like that. So we could get really deep into it, but
Technically,
I
there is an episode where it shows an older. There's an episode that shows a Phineas and Ferb all grown up as
okay.
teenagers, so they do
So,
age in that world.
so it's not like a random, stuck in that timeline. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. And I think Wakanda is a cool place to live. Um, Granted, I also love cartoons, so for me, I wouldn't mind being a cartoon. Like, I feel like that'd be cool to like do things that aren't logical here in our world, and to be able to do that I think is cool. But that's also just me. I like cartoons, so that's just me as well. But I just feel like with Danville you have so much flexibility to do more things than you can in Wakanda. While Wakanda has really cool technology, like they're kind of secluded out in the middle of nowhere. Whereas, like I mentioned before, Danville is close to so many different things. And for me, like I like variety. For me personally, I like variety in my life. I don't want to just be in the same place all the time. And so the fact that I can actually live somewhere where I'm close to Mount Rushmore and also right on the ocean, and also can do a lot of really fun things like go to conventions, enjoy the amazing inventions that the boys make. Like, to me, it just sounds really like an area I'd want to live in.
Yeah, I'll save one of my. Well, I won't say. I was gonna save it for my like closing, but I'll just say that I think if you look at the reality of living in Danville or living in Wakanda, Wakanda has that edge on tech. You got to admit, and I think I don't know this, but I think that they have the technology to not only go all over the world so you can travel wherever you want easily, but they also probably have the tech to go to space, I would imagine. And if they don't, they would eventually, probably in my lifetime.
Mm.
So I would love to go to space. And I think you could do that if you lived in Wakanda. I don't know that you could do that if you lived in Danville. I don't know. Is there episodes where they go to space?
Actually, yes, there's several. So you actually
Okay.
can go to space if you live in Danville, if you get connected with Phineas and Ferb. Like, there's several episodes where they're in space.
Wow. Okay. Well, there you go. I stand corrected on that point.
You can also time travel in Danville as well, because there's an episode where they can travel back in time. There's a lot of stuff. The thing about Phineas and Ferb is that they're literally boy geniuses. So I can almost guarantee, while Wakanda has amazing advanced technology, I can guarantee that Phineas and Ferb can probably make the exact same things. Like, they've proven it time and time again in the show that they know they're young boys. They're capable of inventing the craziest things. But also at the same time,
Interesting.
it would be really cool to live in Wakanda as well, like with all that technology.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Highly recommend living in Danville.
We want to do closing statements then?
Sure.
Okay, so I believe Nate, you go first.
Well, I think Wakanda would be a really, really cool place to live. Like the fact that you have access to some of the most advanced technology in the world, the fact that you would be super, super secluded from a lot of the bad stuff that happens in the world. Even though there is bad stuff that happens in Wakanda, like you're still in a very secluded place and there can be peace. Like that to me, that is Wakanda does have its benefits of living there. But the thing about Danville that I love is that in Danville, there's so many things that you can do. You can go, like I mentioned before, you have access to the beaches and Mount Rushmore, but you also have access to some of the coolest things that Phineas and Ferb invent. You can go on a rocket ship to Mars. You can be in the world's largest bowling ball and have control of it. You can be in a monster truck rally that the boys invent. There's so much stuff that you can do with living in Danville, especially if you know Phineas and Ferb. And the thing that I love about Phineas and Ferb is that Phineas and Ferb share their creativity with the rest of Danville. And so to me, the fact that I can live in a place that gives me all the amenities that I need while also being close to some really cool stuff and also have the access to go to places like space or time travel to a certain period in history or get to actually see a live superhero in action, which I know you can in Wakanda because of Black Panther. So, but I know you can get that in Wakanda as well. But to me, I'm like, Danville is such a great place to live. The fact that it's also a tri-state area, so you can go to different states as well. To me, Danville, in my opinion, is one of the best fictional towns and cities to live in.
Okay, nice. And Johnny?
Yeah, I'll keep it brief. I think Wakanda is going to be a great place to live the rest of my life. All the technology, it might even extend my life. I'd get to go to space. I'd have a lot of availability to tech. It's very exclusive, so I wouldn't have a hard time getting things like healthcare or attention if I needed, I don't know, whatever I needed. I feel like I would be able to have because it's a smaller community that has a vast amount of advanced technology at their disposal. And so if I wanted a suit like the Black Panther, I could probably get one. Different things like that. There's just a lot that I would enjoy. Also, very, very rich culture. I would love to enjoy the culture that African nation kind of portrays and get to enjoy that. And I think that a big fault of living in Danville is the fact that you got to be a cartoon. And yeah, you can do all these cool things, but at some point, doesn't it get old to be in a cartoon world where things feel maybe kiddish, where things feel maybe make believe, maybe they don't feel grounded in the real aspects of what you're here on Earth to do. And so I would say it'd be tough to live in Danville as a cartoon opposed to living in Wakanda. I think they both have the same kind of notes, which is surprising to me about tech and what you could do. But to me, it comes down to being a cartoon or being a live action, real life person. So I'm gonna stick with what I got.
Okay, nice. Well, thank you. And we are on to our last one.
Final round.
Final round.
Ladies and gentlemen.
So you are facing your opponent to be the king of a new land. Instead of having a war, you choose to have an arena fight to the death where you both get to pick one fictional character to represent you. Which fictional character do you pick? And I also asked them to please make it overpowered as possible. And I think they did their best, unlike Johnny and Elijah. They wanted to have more of a
Take that, Johnny and
fair
Elijah.
fight.
Take that.
Nothing wrong with what they wanted, but I was looking for more overpowered. But hey, I'll respect what they wanted. So, actually, before we start with this, I just want to say I am very interested to hear Nate argue his character. I feel like it's a very interesting character, and I wanna definitely hear what he has to say about it. Uh, and it's actually kind of funny. He gets to open. So how about you tell us about your character?
Okay, I will start off by saying this. Anyone can pick a character that's really powerful. You know, you can pick someone like Thanos, who can have, when he has the Infinity Gauntlet, it can snap people out of existence. You can pick someone really, really, really super overpowered. You could pick the Emperor, who can shoot electricity out of his hands. But to me, if I was picking someone in a fight to the death, I wouldn't just want someone who is really powerful physically. To me, I feel like a greater battle to win to the death is if my fighter could challenge the person's mind and mental state and basically annoy them into defeat. And so, my character that I am choosing to face in a fight to the death is Yakko Warner from Animaniacs. And there are reasons as to why I believe he could win in a fight to the death against a really powerful character. And from examples in the show Animaniacs and just different things like that, to me, if you can win against someone with your intellect and annoy them to defeat, that to me is a greater skill than that of just simply blasting someone out of existence. So Yakko Warner from Animaniacs is my choice.
We'll end there. Okay, now Murphy, whenever you're ready.
All right. Yeah. So for this pick, I tried to, as Jared said, pick somebody that's as OP as possible. So I'm trying to think about an arena fight. I'm also knowing that, Nate's going to pick somebody else that's OP. So I'm trying to think strategically who would be as overpowered as possible to more or less end the fight before it even begins. In a sense, it's not even a competition. We need somebody that is going to go walk into the arena, and the second this person, their opponent, is introduced, it's over. It's already over before it even began. No question. The crowd's going to get bummed because they didn't see a good show, but that's what I want. I want to be king. I want to win, and I want the most overpowered person that's going to basically end the fight before it begins. So I have chosen to defend and be my choice in this arena level fight is Dr. Manhattan. Boom.
All right.
All right.
I will
Go
let you
ahead.
go first, Murphy.
Yeah.
Just because I'm pulling up something, but I'll let you go first.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I think Yako. This is such an interesting concept because Yako Warner is in the cartoon world, right? So there's things that raw power and he's kind of indestructible, I guess, in a way, and he's kind of like how do you defeat him in a way. And so it's very interesting. It's not at all the route that I was thinking, but when I got this and I did some research, it really it started to click with me. I mean, again, like I said, Dr. Manhattan's going to end the fight before it even starts. I mean, like, he can literally create reality. He can he is so overpowered that whatever reality that they're living in, whether even if it is cartoon world where cartoon rules apply, um, he can bend that reality, and he can make it to where in reality, no matter what Yako Warner does, he's gonna win the fight, and he can vaporize him from existence the second he steps out. So I think it's a very interesting fight, but it's also one that Dr. Manhattan wins. I don't see how Yako Warner wins this fight.
Yeah, no, those are all very good points. And the truth is, Dr. Manhattan, from the knowledge I do know about him, is a very, very good choice to fit in the arena. Like, very, very good choice. But the truth is, there are legit reasons as to why I actually think Yakko Warner would stand a chance against Dr. Manhattan for several different reasons. Number one, Yakko has a track record, as seen in Animaniacs, of taking down and annoying some of the most powerful characters in existence, including Saddam Hussein. I am not joking when I say there literally is an Animaniacs short where Yakko and Wacko and Slappy the Squirrel annoy Saddam Hussein and they irritate the living crap out of him. It's called Baghdad Cafe. You should look it up. It's really hilarious. So you have one of the world's most powerful dictators that the Animaniacs were able to bring down to weaken just by simply annoying him. You also have a painter like Michelangelo as well, where they were able to annoy him as well. But to me, one of the most powerful characters that the Animaniacs have annoyed is actually Death. Believe it or not, there is an episode where Death goes to Wacko, and Yakko and Dot go with him, and they actually annoy the Grim Reaper. They annoy Death himself. And to me, when I'm thinking of a fight to the death, I think about putting Yakko Warner up against someone like Dr. Manhattan. While Dr. Manhattan may try to snap his fingers and bring Yakko out of existence, Yakko would be like, excuse me over here, but how exactly does that work? And try to start a conversation with him so much that Dr. Manhattan would get annoyed and eventually be kicked out of the arena in some sort of morbid scheme. To me, fighting someone with your mind with annoyance is way more greater than that of personal just being a really powerful being. Because yes, you can vaporize someone out of existence, but to me, to really irritate and annoy someone weakens them more than just shooting them out of existence, because then not only are they defeated, they're also humiliated as well. And Yakko can do that to Dr. Manhattan.
I actually don't think so. I don't think Yakko can do that to Dr. Manhattan. Dr. Manhattan actually has the power to be like completely present in past, present, and future at the same time. He has the power to exist across time and space. How do you annoy someone like that? How do you annoy somebody who can control matter on a subatomic level? He can even like detach himself from his own body and become like kind of multiply himself out. So I think Dr. Manhattan is just on another level that Yakko Warner just can't stack up against. And if we really want to get into it, it's a fight, it's not a conversation. And so I think Dr. Manhattan walks into it knowing it's a fight, and the second that it starts, Dr. Manhattan can go back in time in less than a second to when Yakko Warner was created and written and drawn and erase him from existence. Or he can vaporize him in his cartoon particles on the spot. Like, he's just too overpowered. I mean, Yakko Warner literally needs time to annoy him. And even with that, because Dr. Manhattan exists across time, you're not going to wear him down. So I don't think he gets annoyed. And then when it comes down to it, how even would Yakko Warner beat Dr. Manhattan? There's no beating him. Yakko Warner's only play is defense. So Yakko is only able to annoy or try to outlast, but there's no version of this where he actually can beat him in a fight and win. His best case scenario is a draw.
Is bringing up a lot of really good points is because the fact that Dotton can control time. That is a really, really, really good point. And honestly, compared to other people the Animaniacs have annoyed in the past, that Yakko has annoyed in the past, they haven't been as powerful or as smart as Dr. Manhattan. So that is very, very true. But as far as the time,
Hang on, Nate. Just re-say that.
Yes, start over.
Hang on, Nate.
Has been proven to annoy.
If you can hear us, start over.
Maybe, yeah, start over. Hey everybody, this is Jared from the future. I kept this in because this joke that Murphy makes is funny, and I hope y'all enjoy.
Is he still here?
I hope so. If not, this is going to suck.
Maybe Dr. Manhattan vaporized him.
Oh my goodness. That's something I want to keep in. Oh, but I probably can't.
He's back.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Go ahead and just whatever comment you were going to make. Just
sorry about
over.
that.
It's all right.
I was looking up stuff online, so sometimes
I'm
that
gonna
happens.
halfway debate if I'm going to keep that in or not, because that was really good.
It worked.
Sorry, y'all.
It's good.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, so basically what I was saying is, while I admit that Dr. Manhattan is probably the greatest opponent that Yakko Warner would face, like by far, because he can control time, and also, unlike other people that Yakko has annoyed, Dr. Manhattan is also smart as well, and so that would bring a challenge to him. But to me, Yakko found a way to annoy Death himself, the Grim Reaper. I am confident that Yakko can find a way to visit Dr. Manhattan in between time. And the thing is, Yakko doesn't even need to lift a finger. He can convince Dr. Manhattan through his antics to basically defeat himself and to use his powers against himself. And that is the key of using your mind to win a battle. And the thing about trolling someone is that if you control their mind, you can get someone to do literally whatever you want. And Yakko is a perfect example of this. While Dr. Manhattan can control time, is very smart, and is very, very powerful, if Yakko can annoy Death and find a way to do that, I am confident he can find a way to basically visit Dr. Manhattan in between time and use his powers essentially against himself by using the common antics that Yakko has used time and time again to defeat really powerful people. I do think it would be a challenge though, because like you said, Dr. Manhattan is super powerful, can control time. And also, unlike those other characters, Dr. Manhattan is genuinely brilliant. So I do think it would be a huge challenge for Yakko. But I do think that Yakko, because he has done it in the past, can do it again.
Okay.
But also, to give credit where credit is due. Like I said before, Dr. Manhattan would probably be the greatest opponent that Yakko would face because unlike those other characters, he's not an idiot. So Dr. Manhattan could probably figure out something to do. Then would probably present the greatest challenge. But I just think that trolling has way more power than people think it does. And to me, Yakko is a very prime example of that. So there is that as well.
Yeah, I just don't think that Yakko's, ability to troll and annoy has ever gone up against anybody like Dr. Manhattan. Death itself, Death as a character doesn't have the power. Like, I think Dr. Manhattan can beat Death in a fight. So, I don't know. I just think that, like I said earlier, Yakko's only power is defense. He is deflecting, he is stalling, he's trying to annoy. I think it's the case of right, Dr. Manhattan has total control over reality. Matter, space, time, logic. He has control over all of that. Like he is so overpowered. But I will give you that Yakko has, in a way, an immunity to the reality, especially being a cartoon, right?
He does. He very much does.
Creating reality also in and of itself. The problem isn't can he not be defeated by Dr. Manhattan? The problem is, how does he defeat Dr. Manhattan? And I don't see a version of this where he does. I think the only version of this is the two of them doing this, going around the mountain for eternity, Dr. Manhattan creating another reality, not being annoyed because he's in the past, present, and future all at the same time. He doesn't experience time the same way other opponents would.
Now I really want to see this as an Animaniacs short. The
and,
idea of this just sounds really funny.
and they go over and over across all of time for the rest of existence, but that's still a draw, and I don't think there's any version of that where Dr. Manhattan loses the upper hand. Dr. Manhattan is controlling reality. He's changing reality. He's vaporizing matter and deleting Yako over and over again and killing his creator and changing the way he was written and consistently just reshaping the reality of the fight. And Yako might be immune to that, but he cannot he can't go up against it the same way. And I think it's at best a draw. At more realistic, I think Dr. Manhattan finds a way to vaporize him one way or another. And I think Dr. Manhattan's all offense and Yako is all defense. And I think they're equal on those regards, but they're imbalanced on the other end.
Okay. Well, let's see who gives the first closing statement.
I think it's Murphy.
Yeah.
Okay, Murphy.
I think that was my closing statement. I'll just reiterate it. I think that best case, like what's most realistic in this scenario, is that they just battle it out over time, and Yako is immune to a lot of the stuff because he's a cartoon and he's trying to annoy Dr. Manhattan and he's trying to outwit him. He's trying to whatever, but none of it works because Dr. Manhattan is overpowered and he can create reality. He can duplicate himself. He can be in past, present, and future. He creates the scenario that is best for him to win, and he will do it again and again and again, and he won't be annoyed. He won't experience it the same way the rest of Yako's opponents have. And I think at the end of the day, there's no version of this where Dr. Manhattan loses. Therefore, the most realistic outcome is that he will win one way or another.
Okay. And Nate?
All those are really good points. And the truth is Dr. Manhattan would easily be the hardest opponent that Yako would ever come across in his years of trolling and messing with fictional characters and really powerful characters as well. But if there's anything we know about Animaniacs and them as characters, they always find a way to break the impossible. They annoyed death. They annoyed people like Saddam Hussein. They have annoyed people throughout history. And they've always found a way to get the upper hand. And while Dr. Manhattan is not only super powerful, but also smart as well, and can control time, and can do all of those things, if there's anything that Animaniacs, especially cartoons like Animaniacs, have taught me, is that characters who are characters like Yako, who are ultimate trolls, always find a way to mess with really powerful characters like Dr. Manhattan. They always find a way to win. And the thing about this question of who would you pick to fight to the death ultimately, the greatest advantage I could see Yako giving against Dr. Manhattan is ultimately, I believe that Yako, in his wackiness and in his goofiness and trolliness, can figure out a way to where Dr. Manhattan essentially uses his powers against himself, and Yako would win in the end. Because when have you ever seen an Animaniacs episode where they lose? And the answer is never. Because that is the power of messing with characters' minds.
Oh, I think this was a really fun time, guys. Y'all gave some really interesting points on all of your questions, and yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Murphy, I don't think you have anything that you can plug in. Do you have anything that you want to plug in? Basically, any things that you do kind of like this?
No, I don't have any any content. I'm not really super externally facing, but I did just spend the weekend in Houston a few weeks ago, and I went to go Instagram live. Well, my wife was doing a High Rocks, which is an endurance event, and I couldn't because I don't have 1,000 followers, which I thought was a huge bummer. So, if you want to give me a follow on Instagram, I'd appreciate it. I'm trying to get more followers so I can go live if I ever wanted to in the future.
What
Go follow
is
him.
your Instagram?
My Instagram handle is the original Murphy. So you can find me on Instagram as the original Murphy.
And I've talked to Johnny about him possibly doing stuff in the future. Actually,
Woohoo!
talking about Kingdom Geeks, like this was an original show that I kind of pitched to him, being like, "Hey, like whenever we get the podcast started, this is something that I want to do." So like he was part of dreaming with me with this.
Yeah, it was super fun and excited to be following Kingdom Geeks and all the stuff that you guys put out. It's great stuff. So as now a guest and a listener, I really appreciate you guys do a great job, and it's fun stuff. It's always a good time to listen.
Yeah, we'll get you on the podcast too. Nate, you want to
Absolutely.
plug our stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. So thank you, Jared, so much for hosting this episode of Kingdom Geeks Roundtable. So ultimately, as Jared probably has mentioned before, Kingdom Geeks Roundtable was ultimately part of something that we have been talking about for a while, about how the thing about Jared and I is Jared and I are not only nerds, but we also are Christians. We believe that Jesus Christ is the one true living God. And we believe that all entertainment, whether that be movies, TV shows, video games, comic books, actually has morals that can point to the truths that are found in the gospel. And if you're interested in learning more about how movies, TV shows, video games, comic books, anything nerdy can actually reflect the kingdom of God, go check out the Kingdom Geeks podcast. We have done several episodes. It's mainly me, Jared, and our other friend Nathan as well, but we also bring on guests as well. And yeah, we're just going through this journey of trying to let people know that, hey, believe it or not, the moralities that are found in the story actually can point to the truths that are found ultimately in Christianity. And so, yeah, if you're interested in that, go be sure to listen to the Kingdom Geeks podcast. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, places like that. And yeah, if you're interested in something like that, go check us out. And yeah, remember that good storytelling can reflect the kingdom of God.
Also, whatever you're listening to on this, whatever this is on, the episodes are on there as well. So
Yes.
whatever you are. Just a little fun thing that I want to plug in. So if you want to see a little bit of behind the scenes on some of the stuff that I'm working on with Kingdom Geeks, I actually stream gaming on Twitch, Shaggy Batman 51. So if you want to see what I'm up to, see what episodes I'm coming up with right now, I am... Actually, this will be dated if I just say what I'm working on. So,
I mean, you can
yeah,
always
basically,
say, but
I
yeah.
could always say, but it'll just be dated. Eventually it'll be like, no, you're not. Like that was like 2 years ago. So just go check it out. Shaggy Batman 51 on Twitch if you want to just get some sneak peeks on what's going to be on the show in the future. And also, do not forget to leave a comment and say, hey, I think this person won, or hey, I think that person won. At the end of the day, it's not about that, but hey, we do like to have conversations, and Johnny definitely wants to have a winner declared. But anyways, also, maybe you have a better person that you'd want to put in my question. So yeah, leave a comment to all of that.
Heck yeah.
And thank you all guys for listening. I really appreciate the time of just taking out of your day just to listen, whether it's driving home from work or just relaxing with us or whatever, just listening to us at work. Thank you, everybody, and y'all have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, y'all. Have a good one.